Today, Republican gubernatorial candidate Glenn Youngkin said voters are sick and tired of recycled and divisive politics. And this is coming from his confidence in ability to defeat Democrat opponent Terry McAuliffe. If Youngkin defeats the known frontrunner, will the Republican victory foretell a GOP revolution coming up into the 2022 midterms? Ned Ryun, CEO of American Majority, joins now to give his thoughts on the possible outcomes of this election. Ned, good to see you.
Good to see you, Buck. Yeah, no, this is a very important election for moving forward, not only for Virginia but the country.
Now, as people are watching this, obviously there's going to be more information out there, stuff coming in. So, just give us from the broad strokes, how do we get to this point where McAuliffe is having a very nervous night at best when he was supposed to be running against a political unknown who had no name recognition in the state or anywhere else and was just going to beat him easily? That's not the case.
No, that's not the case at all, Buck. I mean, this is a state that Biden won by 10 points. A lot of people thought this was a definitive that McAuliffe was going to win no matter who got nominated for the Republican nominee. And over the course of the last few months, that dynamic has changed dramatically. And I think, Buck, a lot of it has been things that have fallen into Glenn Youngkin's lap over the education situation here in the state, especially Loudoun County, but other counties as well, where you've seen a grassroots revolt among parents. And the great thing is, as it's fallen into Glenn Youngkin's lap, the issue, he's embraced it. He's embraced the issue and said, I'm going to defend parents' right to actually have an impact and decide how their children are educated. So in some ways, Glenn Youngkin is a fortunate benefactor from some of the dynamics, but to his credit, he's embraced it.
Yeah, I mean, tell me this. What has Youngkin done that's put him in this position? I mean, I've heard a fair number of people who watch us pretty closely in Virginia say they feel like he's been catching his stride as he goes. You know, he's been gaining momentum, not just in terms of the polls, but also in the way that he presents and in the way that he's stepping into this moment. You said he's taking advantage of this moment, but what has Youngkin done right to get to this place?
Well, he's run a good campaign. I mean, let's be honest. It's been a good campaign on a variety of fronts. Obviously, he has some personal wealth, so he's been well funded. He's also done a good job on fundraising on top of that. They've done a good job of organizing on a variety of fronts. And the good thing, Buck, that I've noticed on a few different fronts, there are poll watchers, poll workers in a lot of these polling places across the state, been there every day. Of course, early voting started on September 17th here in Virginia. So it's 45 days out. So they've been very well organized on that front. But they have also been very well organized on getting their people out. And I think you're going to see a tremendous turnout today from Republican voters. And the interesting dynamic, Buck, and I know I messaged this to you offline. For perspective, in 2020, we lost the early vote absentee vote here in Virginia by 31 points. As of this morning, we had calculated American Majority Action, Youngkin only losing it by 16. I heard word this morning from the Youngkin campaign that they were only down by 14. So significant strides in making sure, again, part of it, that the Democrats here are not that energized. But between them not being energized and the Youngkin people doing a lot better job on early voting and absentee, we're coming into Election Day with a much narrow gap to overcome.
Who is Terry McAuliffe? I mean, we know he was the governor of Virginia before, but what does this guy stand for, Ned?
He's a political opportunist. I mean, he's a Clinton bagman. He's a whatever he thinks the issues are with the left. And this is the thing that I told my wife yesterday. The amazing thing about Terry McAuliffe and this crazy things that he said about parents don't have any right to tell teachers how their kids are educated. I think we have too many white teachers here in Virginia. He has said these things in an echo chamber of the left, and then he comes out to the general public and says these things, and it does not go over well with parents, Republican, Democrat, or independent. So Terry McAuliffe is a political chameleon who is the Clintons' bagman, who obviously was a previous governor of Virginia, but also shows a little bit, Buck, that the Democratic Party here in Virginia is maybe not as strong and robust as it should be when you have to have a retread governor as your best chance to hold on to the governor's mansion.